Well, it's been a couple months since the last UBIX AMA. An AMA is an Ask Me Anything, if you didn't know. So you'll see AMAs a lot. Especially with small projects, it's a way for them to kind of answer the questions for their community in like a big lump sum, venue or something like that. Today, we're going to get into a bunch of stuff, UBIX, the missed audit, Ubistake, some UBIX Exchange mobile, but there's really not. I think the biggest thing that I see is there's just not a lot of people talking about the UBIX network, and there's a reason for that. And if you stick around, I'm going to show you why. But because I'm one of the only ones, I kind of have you as a captive audience. And since I have you as a captive audience, I'm going to make you learn a little bit about math and some people involved in it. And one of my favorite people is a theoretical physicist. His name is Richard Fynman. Richard Fynman has a great quote. And these things get adapted, so I'm not sure how literal this quote is as to what he actually said, but you get the gist. Study hard what interests you. So find what you like and study hard in it. And when you do so in the most undisciplined, irreverent, and original manner possible. So what does that mean? That means if you find something you like, say astronomy, science, math, whatever it is, it can be anything. Social sciences, the law, it's an endless thing. But when you find that, basically you need to be different than everyone else, stand out, kick indoors, do what you got to do to make that happen. So this guy, when I was a kid, I'm not old, but I remember the whole space thing of the 80s and stuff, and it was a pretty cool time. And Fynman, he was with the Challenger disaster. He was part of the researching team for that and everything, but he was an American theoretical physicist known for his work with path integral formulation, we'll talk about that in just a second, of quantum mechanics, the theory of quantum electrodynamics, and the physics of superfluidity of supercooled liquid helium, as well as his work in particle physics, for which he won he proposed the Parton model, and then for his developments in the quantum electrodynamics, he received a Nobel Prize in 1965. Smart dude, one of probably the smartest. He's in the top 10, right? So when we talk about this path integral formulation right here, and it's in quantum physics, and quantum just means basically small, a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of the radiation it represents. So the smallest possible discrete unit of any physical property such as matter or energy. So we're talking small, but these components, if you look at the way an atom and its components interact, it's really similar to the universe. You see a lot of Fibonacci sequences in subatomic and in universal. So the scale is a little bit weird, the correlations and stuff. But the correlation that I want to point out on this one is, so it's a description of quantum mechanics that generalizes the action principle of classical mechanics, the way things move. It replaces the classical notation of a single unique classical trajectory for a system with a sum or a functional integral over an infinity of quantum mechanically possible trajectories to compute a quantum amplitude. Okay, so this is just kind of how it moves and interacts and what it, But if we look, the whole gist of this at the most basic level is sometimes the straightest or the quickest, most efficient path from A to B isn't always a straight line. And that's, if we look at this diagram, that's what they're saying. There's an infinite number of paths between A and B. And there's quite a bit of math that goes along and differential equations that explain this. But Schrodinger equation is a linear partial differential equation. So differential equation, that's it right here. That's just an equation over time, right? How things move. That governs the wave function of quantum mechanical system. It is a key result of quantum mechanics, and its discovery was a significant landmark in the development of the subject. The equation is named after Schrodinger. So what we want to talk about is differential equations, quantum mechanics, or quantum physics, and then this all ties into directed acyclic graphs. It's the same thing. So in a blockchain, we're going sequentially from one to the next, to the next, to the next. In a DAG, we're trying to find a new path amongst infinite possible paths, and we're trying to find new ways to do that. And that's where you come up with a DAG. And there's multiple different kinds of DAG. DAG is a directional acyclic graph. And when we look at these, so here is, I'm showing you again the Schrodinger equation, and these are complex wave plot graphics. But you could see almost, if you get into an abstract sense, how this could apply to a blockchain, right? As a block is laid down, these are the interactions, and then at the end of it where the spiral is, that's the final verification as the block is laid, and then it's just a part of the block after that. And you can do all these interactions and twisting between it. These are the concepts that people are thinking of at a theoretical level when it comes to developing blockchain advancements and technologies. So DAG, right? You can have A to B, B to B. Let's go back to our path integration here. And I believe if we scroll down just a little bit, past some of the math, a little bit farther. No, maybe it wasn't on that one. There were different integrations of wave formulation. Maybe it wasn't on one of these and I don't have it with me. Oh, here we go. It's in the DAG. So here's a DAG directed acyclic graph. It means it starts at one point and ends at another point, and that's the same too with this path integration diagram that we showed earlier. It is acyclic. It talks about these are the 5 infinite of the infinitely many possibles availables for a particle to move from point A to point B at any time t, which is undefined at the moment, to point B. And paths which self-intersect or go backwards in time are not allowed. So you can't go from A to A and you can't go from B to B. You have to go from A to B and you can't go back, which is the same concept that we're looking at when we look at a directed acyclic graph. It is a linear path. It goes from A to B to C to D to E, but it never goes from D back to A or C back to A. That's the whole point of this, right? Acyclic. And then the graph is just a visualization of it in different forms. We can have it on a multi-plane right here where we're isolating different variables, kind of like finding your roots. That's your topological ordering. You also have right here, so this is a normal DAG where we're talking about, here's, the blockchain would be without all these little loops. It would just go from this to this to this continuously, however long that takes, to fill the blocks and whatever the protocol is for that. And then we can see a basic DAG would say, well, if we don't need to have this or this, we could just skip this information on forward. This could go to here. This could go to here. The red lines here, these are the proposed other options where if we know that all of the blue lines are true, then also the red lines would be true in another fashion, basically. And you see, all of these are different types of DAGs. Some algorithms become simpler when used on DAG instead of general graphs because of the principle of the topological ordering of how that they're laid out. Some don't. It depends on the utility and the application of the project. So if the blockchain project you have doesn't benefit from the aspects that are brought in by the DAG technology or the DAG theory, then it's not going to benefit the utility of the project, right? So not everything's going to go to DAG, not everything's going to stay blockchain. And there's going to be hybrids of these formed. One of those is the UBIX network. And the UBIX network right now is up 3%. It's 0.30 and a 4 of a dollar, right? So pretty small as far as that's concerned. Now the market cap, when we look, it's not listed on CoinGecko. And the 24-hour trading volume is off. When we look at coin market cap, they do list a circulating supply of volume, fully diluted market cap, and a market cap, but all of that is wrong as well. So the market cap is 15.85 million, and that's what's listed on the UBIX network. We roll down, we'll get the rest of the numbers here. We have a circulation of 38.2 billion. We have value transferred USD 24-hour trading volume is about 30 million is what this says. Or excuse me, transferred value is 30 million. 24-hour trading volume is 600,000, which is substantially different than the 1.36 million we have here and the 1.6 million here. Although when we get into what they were talking about with the AMA, because most of this is going to be about the AMA. The AMA was probably the best. It is the best AMA that UBIX has come out with. And you're going to understand by the end of this video why UBIX is a good project and why you don't hear about it, and yet it's still a good project. Continuing down through the numbers, it had some really serious all-time highs recently at 0.005-ish. And then it's had a big retracement. So I think we're in the 90% retracement value. So it's gone back from where it was at all-time highs all the way down. What does it say over here maybe? It's quite a bit. It's substantial. And this is where dollar cost averaging would kind of come in. I got into this pretty early, and I'll be honest, I bought some up here, I sold some up here, and then I bought back in. And I've been trying to add to my numbers as well as take advantage of the staking and airdrops. I'm not going to go too much into this. I'll put plenty of links throughout this video that'll give you more to the UBIX, where I go into different depths on different topics. This one is going to be pretty in-depth. Here is the UBIX homepage again, UBIX Network. We are UBIX, a digital universe with endless possibilities. They're not your normal crypto project. They're not trying to be in DeFi. They're not trying to be into normal crypto aspects with all the volatility, all the crazy. They're trying to build an application that can withstand all of the hype and all the garbage that goes along with cryptocurrency, and yet still use the same technology. So they use the Node.js directed acyclic graph hybrid, and the ecosystem stuff is. Look at the links. I go into all of that pretty deep. We'll touch on that a lot in the AMA, but mostly I want to touch on the AMA topic. So they do have the daily airdrops of 0.1%. I guess we should just jump straight ahead. So the UBI long-term payout program is right here, and I'll give you the link to this. But they have the first year, it's going to stay at about 36%, and that's that 0.1% airdrop that we're seeing. The following model was distributed. So then the UBI payment program, approximately 0.1% of the wallet balance is accrued, about 30%. So that's what you're going to get for the first year, and then after that, it's going to decline. And it shows right here that by year 2, you're looking at about 25%. By year 3, you're looking at about 19%, and so on. However, it will never go to zero. So you will always get a reward for this. It's just to help reward early investors and help keep them interested in this. Because this isn't your normal crypto project. It's not going to suffer from the daily fluctuations. It does, but it's not meant to. They want you to look at this as a 3 to 5 year investment. When you think about UBIX, you should think of a 3 to 5 year investment. And you'll see that your rewards will go down over that 3 to 5 years. However, the compounding interest and airdrops that you're going to get from this is going to make up for that as it goes along, and the value should, go up in disproportion to this. And that kind of helps control inflation. At least that's the goal, right? Okay, so let's go to the AMA, UBIX Network, July 2021. I think it's about a week ago. And it took me a little while to put all this together. I broke my foot, so I've been kind of dealing with that. So here I am. How long before the official white paper is going to be released? It's been talked about for so long and promised several times. So what happened was, all of these questions that you see and it says UBIX holder, those were proposed on Twitter. They took those together, compiled them, and then came up with some logical answers for those. And I think the answers are great, and I think this was perfect. This was a good AMA, because now there's a good PDF you can check out. It's kind of like a little bit of the trying to fill the gap. All right, so the white paper, they say 2 to 3 weeks from when this was posted. I checked recently; they still only have the wiki, and I didn't see any white paper. I'll keep looking. When I find one, I'll let you know. The next question is, what is the roadmap due to be launched? So they're looking for an updated roadmap, because when we do go to like the UBIX network and we go to the bottom down here, this roadmap has basically kind of been like this for a long time. I don't think it's been updated in a while. So, and they're gonna get into more depth on this. And they say a full-fledged roadmap, which covers all the areas of development, protocol, interface, and services, will appear no later than September. So a couple months. Yeah, not even a couple months, a month and a half. Sometime in September is about a month, maybe a little bit more than that away. So what are the plans for marketing UBX? Why not appoint an official, there's a typo right here, marketing advisor like with other crypto projects and take it to the next? So why not pay into YouTube influencers and Twitter influencers and all? Because the budget doesn't allow for it. Basically is where we're going to go with this. They are very conservative regarding their spending money on their promotions and stuff like that, because they found that it just hasn't been effective. They basically want to say that they're going to use Twitter as their main means of doing this when they do. Our main promotion strategy is advertising through services for end users. The release of the first such service will take place in the near future. An advertising campaign is already being developed for it. And we have also contacted some well-known marketing teams in the crypto space this month, and we will be close to picking the correct company. So they're working on it, and it's going to come up on Twitter. So if you want to know where the new marketing strategy is going to start, it's going to start on Twitter. Okay, again, not affiliated with any of this. This is just me sharing the research because they are a small project that I like, and I'm invested in this. I do own UBX, and I have some staked and everything else. I get the airdrops. There have been numerous times in the past where Exchange, the moneymaker, and Ubistake have gone offline. So what they've done with this is they've transferred it says we've completed the change of providers. Last week we transferred the last service to UBIX Exchange, or the last service which was the UBIX Exchange. Now we are sure that the servers will be more stable. So hopefully this change will mitigate those downs. How many people are currently working there? So now there's only 14 people. There were 17. We are actively looking for additional developers, and recently we have been able to attract many talented people. The main tactic for team development is to keep a compact main core of a team, which is engaged in the development and maintenance of the main components, which are UBIX network protocol, Ubikiri microservice architecture, key services such as wallet, identity, and Explorer. In addition, we form specialized project groups focused on product development. Currently, there are 2 teams of 4 people each. One team develops Ubistake, the MakeMeMoney.online, and the other is focused exclusively on Silent Notary. Okay, so that's what they're doing. Can you provide examples of how the team intends to apply UBIX in real life? What is the utility of this product? They are developing several products which use the UBIX network. An example, there will be a release of a monitoring system for the lease of commercial real estate, shopping centers, offices, etc. So they have a strong presence with the construction industry. We use UBIX network to maintain a register of premise, price, request for renting premises, renting the premises. And this service is being developed based on existing customer needs, and its commercial use will begin immediately after the release. In addition, we are developing services for the construction and translation industry. We soon will announce updates. Okay. Does the team have any plans to release weekly, monthly updates? Yes, they're going to start making more and more updates. They're currently using Jira, which is a project management software. Atlassian Jira. Yeah, I think that's project management software, yeah. UBXE, I have been waiting on a very long time to receive any earnings, no weekly dividends from UBXT tokens in my wallet. I spent $15,000 and haven't made. So they apologize, they're working on it, and they've been pretty good about getting that stuff around. They're trying to work that all out by the end of August. Is sharding still going to be implemented? Yes, absolutely. This is a priority in the development of the protocol. Simultaneously with sharding, we will have to optimize the logic of building connections between blocks. Question 10, is there a plan to merge Ubikiri and Ubistake? And this is one that I've asked in the past too. Yes, the integration of UBX Exchange has already started. After that, we'll start with Ubikiri. So that'll be nice. And then I think they're going to do the Make Me Money as well, kind of get all of that together. You know, the rebranding, the Ubikiri. So you can do it all in one spot. And it'll be Ubistake instead of the Make Me Money. We plan... when can we expect adoption of UBIX networks with other partnerships, governments, etc.? And is it possible to get an in-depth example of how this product may be used to benefit these organizations? We plan in the coming weeks, less than a month, to launch the commercial real estate rental service partnership and launch a partnership in the area of translation. The translation of official documents, right? That's what they're talking about when they say translation. And they are currently in development of services only if there's a request from the client. So they work kind of on demand. The clients that they pick up, they focus their work on the client, and that makes sense, right? So it's an adaptive system built on the real world adoption that's being brought to them. Last commit in GitHub. So why aren't you guys doing any more on GitHub? That's because it works. The core of the network is stable and does not require active development at the moment. MMM team profiles have been linked to, so why are they using Facebook instead of Instagram? Basically because a lot of them are from Russia and they don't use LinkedIn in Russia. So keep that in consideration as well. Not all countries use the same stuff. It is possible to show the amount of UBIX staked in MMM, like a live figure. Yes, we have such an endpoint. We will make it public. Thanks for the offering. Now in the service staked as of July, the end of July, that's how many are staked. UBIX is worth the mobile application. So yes, but in order to save resources, they are trying to finish the development of interfaces first and then make the mobile application. And I think you can interface the mobile stuff through web, but I'm not 100% where they're at with the mobile applications on mobile apps. I looked for it and I couldn't find any, like in the Play Store kind of stuff to do an app download. When can we expect the Vault to be released? We have lowered the priority of the Vault due to the urgent need to launch real estate services. So basically they have a real estate client. They're going to focus on that and then continue with the Vault. Our current exchange needs an improved look. Have you looked at KuCoin and Binance Exchange software? They have already prepared a layout for the website and will start layout in the near future. They took into account the experience of the market leaders. So they're looking at what other people are doing and what's working, and they're trying to make that work for them. Does UBIX have any plans to hire a marketing team? So like they said before, they're limited budget and resources on that, so they focus on what works. We're starting to look at a marketing from an early April, May, and then have determined who can actually follow through what they want, what the prices are, stuff like that. It's hard to find. They're working out who's going to be a good fit for them. Once we have finalized the negotiations and both parties are happy, we can certainly let the community know, and then they'll probably do this like in an AMA or something like that. I say at the last AMA that we were very close to hiring a marketing team, but as we looked further into the company and compared them to what others were offering, we decided to withdraw from negotiations and look for other options. When you intend to proactively announce further real-world partnerships and proactively start driving towards the development of multiple partnerships in the large international business. And then they said, we have enough services in development right now. So they're basically, they got a little overwhelmed with that big hype right there, and they're trying to kind of get all that under control and, scale at a reasonable pace. They're focused on real demand in order to launch the real-time working services, preferably not in the financial sector. So they're really not looking for any sort of crypto DeFi, if that's what you're curious about. Let's see. Some questions about the Ubikiri wallet, wrapping services, and stuff like that. CoinMarketCap. So the information that we were looking at before, CoinMarketCap is wrong. CoinGecko is wrong. And when CoinMarketCap information... when will it be updated and how will this work out for them? They says that they'll fix it. They have just become aware that CoinMarketCap is trying to implement their SRD, which is a self-reporting dashboard. And CMC's self-reporting dashboard aims to give projects greater flexibility and control over the information that they share with the public. So here, the UBIX network will say these are our numbers, and then they can be posted more accurately. The utility, and so that'll take care of that whole thing. And then it'll actually help it with being ranked, which is another kind of deterrent for watching it grow. If people can't find it in a ranking or something like that, or it doesn't help. The utility and use cases of UBIX are very vague. Can we have some definition examples and explanations of the products and the use cases? See, this is a great AMA. These are great questions and great answers. Yes, the existing documentation is far from ideal, and they're rewriting it right now. It's going to take a little while. They're doing it, along with quite a bit of other stuff. So it's going to take a couple months. So they're going to do it in stages, it looks like. However, the first pages will be ready by the end of next week, so soon. As for some examples, the main use of UBIX is to pay to write transactions to the network. We are focused on the development of services that use the network primarily in the non-financial sector, such as commercial real estate construction, notarization of transactions. So now I want to stop here just for a second. When we talk about NFTs that are probably going to make it to the UBIX network, they're going to be in these forms, right? Most likely, you're not going to find some CryptoPunk style art project on UBIX. You're going to find more of maybe like a rental voucher that you can purchase a UBIX with UBIX with maybe an embedded NFT or something like that. That's how I envision NFTs, is more utility NFTs, embedded NFTs, and stuff like that. We can talk about that in depth later if you want. Leave a comment. Not financial advice. This is just going over the UBIX stuff. So hopefully this is all great and you're getting some value from this. I really enjoyed it. I had to read it a couple of times to really grasp some of the stuff they were talking about, just because there's a lot. But it helped really kind of put a bunch of stuff into the barrel and answer some of my questions. I'd like to expand our knowledge about your tokenomics. What role does it play in your platform, and how would you incentivize people to use and hold it? Token burn and buybacks have also been trending lately. What are your thoughts and plans on this? So the priority is the development of the services for the end users. Deliver the product to the clients that they have. That's a good At the same time, it is highly desirable to develop services in the real sector, at the same time not related to finance. Like, they're really adamant about they don't want to mess with DeFi. In addition, we strive to isolate these services, issue tokens for these services, and form independent project teams and communities around the projects. Ideally, each of these projects should regularly distribute the resulting profits among the total. So they want to, the tokenomics, they want it to benefit the community. We have already formed a significant development fund. What was the question? It is unfortunate that some projects remain halfway because their developers abandon the project. So they've developed a fund so that they can, like the airdrops funded, the community, the development, they have it all set out so that there really is no money issue. This is a long-term 3 to 5 year project. They have the funds, and that's why they're conservative with what they spend, because they know that they only have a small allocation and it needs to go as far as it can. But they do have enough to continue. This isn't one that's, likely to just bail out. They're trying to look long term. So the exchange, when will it be adopted? More increased in liquidity and real alternative for exchanges. We plan to complete the legal formalities by the end of August. I expect UBIX to have a very strong fall. Is UBIX being used, adopted by the Acceleration Group? So we saw the partnership and the stuff that they were doing with the Acceleration Group. The Acceleration Group is a construction company in Russia. They did some of the Sochi Olympic stuff. Is there an actual use case for them implementing it in their day-to-day processes? Can you give an example of this? Yes, the joint development is in this area are aimed exclusively at using our network in existing business processes. Now, the main developments are carried out in the field of construction project management and control of the integrity of the project documentation. So that's a lot of words for basically everything is documented, especially construction. Where did the steel come from? Was it inspected? You can put all this together on a network that's immutable and legal evidence at this point. That's the goal. So this is a strong asset and has a lot of utility for the construction industry. But they're looking all to do this in the next couple months. Again, like I said, a strong fall. Last couple pages on here. When will Ubistake rebrand be done? We started work quite recently. Yeah, we've seen some of the work along the way. We've entered the stable mode in service just a few days ago. Now a dozen masternodes serve more than 11 billion UBIX transferred to the service. We have a dedicated resource who's working on the rebrand as we speak. So it's underway. It should be soon, hopefully. Can you please confirm for Ubikiri and the Make Me Money, could we allow investors to easily run and download a transaction summary report from this inception? This report should show deposits, dates, rewards, airdrops, amounts, values in dollars, and UBIX for every deposit, withdrawal, airdrop, reward, etc. Could simply be CSV Excel file, right? That would be nice. This would assist holders for their taxation purposes. And this is a good question. We plan together with partners, and it's a taxation service, to make the required level of detail for such a service. So they're going to get to where you can use some sort of a download to get you, maybe an Excel file or something like that that'll show your airdrop information for your taxes and your transfer and your activities. That's good. That's something, you don't want to do that manually. How many real-world partnerships do you aim to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? 6 to 12 months. What are your plans to achieve this, and how many partnerships are there in the pipeline? So they have 2 big contracts, and it's not stated what they are, that we have to execute in the next month. So 2 projects in the next month, and that'll give us through, let's say September, and then until the end of the year, a possible realistic of 6 to 7 clients. And then beyond that, for the whole year and stuff, they just, it's hard to predict that stuff. How do you foresee the UBIX technology evolving over the short term in the next year and then the next 3 years, right? The mid to term. And remember, we always say 3 to 5 years for UBIX. UBIX is a great 3 to 5 year project. Don't try and, I'm not saying don't, and I'm not giving you financial advice, but If you're looking for the day trade to swap, to flip, to do whatever, this may not be the best project, but that's for you to decide. And the goal is to form a variety of services for end customers, preferably not from the crypto industry or the finance, right? They don't want to do crypto, they don't want to do finance. They want to use the technology and bring it to the real world for real world adoption in those traditional style markets. And that's a bold thing. A little bit more, let's see, this was the UBIX AMA on Uniswap. Is there any use case for this coin? Yes, of course. First, we will launch a gateway to swap the ERC tokens to the T10. And after that, the distribution of the income of the Ubistake service begins. Holders UBIX AM tokens will begin. What is something new that the dev team is doing? Our guys have made a service for monitoring, so we talked about the monitoring of the leasing of the commercial real estate. Really like the design of the functionality. Can't wait to publish it, so that'll be fun. Tokenomics. What is the expected long-term relationship between UBIX inflationary factors and the UBIX deflationary factors? Which factors will dominate when and how? And ultimately, what does this mean for the UBIX supply? A time-based chart showing expected crossover between supply and burn curves would also be well received. So they're asking for a visual representation of the correlation between the inflationary and deflationary tokenomics and tactics and what they're going to do. So they're in a race with the UBI payout process, which increases the money supply by 36% in the first year. And I showed you the chart on that and how it decreases each year, which is part of the way they're compensating for inflation. In accordance with the basic laws of economy, we must form the required number of services that use this liquidity, and this can be studied in the writings of Irving Fisher. These processes were studied in detail several decades ago, and depending on who wins the race, inflation or deflation will prevail. Something, a little bit more about the native tokens. Some changes in the organization in the last few months. Not all of these questions we really got to dive into. So are we planning on generating any marketing materials that differentiate our hybrid DAG from the competitors? This would allow us to promote ourselves as industry leaders. One of our competitors has already taken the DAG coin, right, Constellation, and are leveraging that technology at their own invention. That being said, we need to promote ourselves even more in a down market to build. So the way to promote this is to share videos on UBIX, to talk about UBIX with your friends, and build a community that's sharing the information within that community and with other communities. The reason you don't see a lot of this on YouTube is because people aren't getting paid to talk about it on YouTube. So the only people really talking about it on YouTube and stuff are the ones that are doing it for free because they're either invested or they like the project. So positioning is key in PR. We are now preparing a new edition of the documentation where we describe our features quite clearly. They're trying to get more clarity, more information out there so people can understand the project. And there's been a few iterations of like their webpage and stuff like that along the way. So it's a growing process. You just 3 to 5 years, you have to be patient. If I'm not mistaken, there have been changes in the organization. So we've gone through a significant transformation. We now have a new organizational structure that allows us to scale the number of services being developed. Over the past 2 months, they created 2 separate groups, and by the end of the year, the number of teams will be increased by 2 or 3 times. So they're expecting to grow and build their team development. I participated in a different sandbox project since March. The UBX Exchange and other projects. What's going to happen? Are these projects still live? So all of the projects above are live and planned for development. If there are changes in priorities, then there will be a refund for sure. But now UBX E, that's the exchange. The UBX M, I'm guessing that's the moneymaker one. Can't remember. But UBS SN, that's Silent Notary, and then UBS DR have the highest priority. They will be launched first. And I'm guessing this SDR might be the real estate one. Trading in these tokens will begin on UBX, the UBX Exchange. For some of the tokens, we have already applications, and Ubikiri, it's got a pretty good exchange. It's getting better. Do you plan to reach out to businesses like Ubisoft, who are huge in gaming firm and who could keep are keen to work on the development of blockchains? Could be interested in partnership. We now have a lot of promising partnerships, and due to the fact that these are real-life partnerships requiring the development of basically real-life services, this imposes a great responsibility on the development team. They're going to work on what they got and then take what they get as they go. So that's the AMA, and I thought that answered a lot of questions. I'll put all the links below. There'll be timestamps so you can jump around. But here is on, what is this, June 8th, the UBIX Exchange, the mobile version now live. So it is coming into fruition as far as the mobile version. Here was the last AMA, May 14th. And if you want a link to an article that kind of summarizes some of the points, almost all of the stuff that you're going to see in here was addressed in the current AMA, so I'm not really going to talk about that. So the next thing that I do want to talk about, though, was the Slowmist Audit, Smart Contract Security Audit Report, which is a link right here to the actual report 2021. And this is on the UBIX token, contract address, all the information. What we want to look at, though, was these were all of the audit items. There were 13 audit items. All 13 of those items was pass. So they passed with, flying colors. All of it was good. The only thing that they have as far as a summary of conclusion is that this token contract does not contain the token vault section. The total amount of tokens in the contract can be changed, and the issue function does not set an upper limit, and the owner can mint arbitrarily. Safe math security module is used, which is a recommended approach, and the contract does not have the overflow and race conditions issue. During the audit, we found the following information. And basically, only the owner can issue and redeem tokens, and there's a whole bunch of real specifics in there as far as each of the specific audit items, but we're not going to talk about that in depth. So the white page, we're waiting on the updated white paper, okay? But we still have the wiki, and it's a pretty good source of information on all sorts of aspects of how it started as Silent Notary, how it's evolved to the UBIX network, some of the math behind it, how to wrap your natives to get the ERC, how to unwrap the ERC20s to get to the native UBX, and so on. So I have videos on all of this. You should check it out. KuCoin. This is where I get my UBIX, and when we kind of zoom out a little bit, it hit, let's see if we can go, where's the search? And they changed the site a little bit on me. Where the hell is the search button? Anyway, so USDT was a shorter pair. Before that, it was Ethereum. So this only shows just recently, and you can see it's down. But when we look at Ethereum, when we go back, actually, we can do that right here. See, we're only seeing this last little bit for this is when the USDT pair came out on KuCoin, but big highs and a lot of potential here. So I think once it already looks like Bitcoin and Ethereum are making some good moves, and maybe we'll start flipping some of that resistance to support and moving our way on up to the deluxe apartment in the sky. As that happens, I expect UBIX to get drawn back up and maybe see new all-time highs within the next hopefully by the end of the year, but maybe spring next year. And again, 3 to 5 years. So the real value in this is going to be dollar. If you like this project, you want to invest in it, and it looks like you think it's going to be around for a while, don't put all your money in at one time. That's not what I would do. I would buy a little bit, buy a little bit, buy a little bit over periods of time and dollar cost averaging. All right, that's all I got. This is UBIX, and no price prediction, but a lot of new updates and different kind of things coming up. And, I see a lot of potential. I think the construction industry is a great industry for the blockchain technology that they're proposing. So, and, real estate falls right in there with that. I think once they can figure all of that out, maybe incorporate some NFTs, even NFTs that serve a physical function where, you can use the UBIX to get an NFT, which will then initiate some sort of physical demand where a product is delivered or a service is provided or something along those lines. It'd be interesting to see how that evolves. And I think that's how most NFTs are going to evolve anyway. All right, that's long enough. Cheers.